And we are right at 5:30. I'd like to thank everybody for being here, for attending this, as we get ready to start the CDBG 2026 funding round. Tonight, of course, we're gonna hear some presentations from all the applicant agencies, but before we do that, I'd like to take roll calls, so if we can go around and have the committee members give your name, get this started. Start with, or well, actually, we'll start here.
Steve Bishop.
I'm Janet Welch.
Joan Simmons.
Courtney Daly.
Triana Moulton.
Carl Geiser. And Terry Anderson.
Thank you all. And say, just introducing this, like I said, we'll be hearing presentations this evening for the 11 applicant agencies that we have this year. It is anticipated that we will probably have around $117,000 to allocate for the CDBG 2026 funding year. Unfortunately, only 15% of the CDBG funding that we receive can actually go towards social services. And moving into the kind of overview of it, CDBG is used for the benefit of low to moderate income individuals who are at 80% or less of the area median income as determined for the Bloomington metro area, as established by HUD yearly. Tonight, we will be hearing, like I said, 11 different presentations. Each will be no longer than 5 minutes. I will be keeping time. Each agency will be given a kind of nudge with 1 minute left to go, just noting that their time is close to being over. And I will ask that with the open seat that we possibly have up here, as you're presenting, if you can come up here just to get closer to our microphone and the owl, so that way those online can hear as well. And for recording purposes, that we're able to get you there. But I will start the timer whenever you begin your presentation. And we'll move on from there. The order of presenters is also here on the agenda that has been printed out and is available. But from here, I would like to let our committee chair, Ms. Janet Welch, take over and we can begin the presentations.
Okay. Well, let's get started. Is someone here from Beacon House?
This is Amy Kendall. I'm from Beacon.
Yes, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, my name is Amy Kendall and I'm the development director at Beacon. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. Beacon is a solutions-driven anti-poverty organization dedicated to aiding and empowering people experiencing extreme poverty, especially hunger and homelessness. Our 6 programs address issues ranging from the first crisis that threatens homelessness to finding housing solutions for people who have experienced homelessness for years. We are the largest nonprofit housing provider in Monroe County, and in 2024, we housed or prevented homelessness for 683 people. We are respectfully requesting $25,000 in funding to support the operations of Beacon's overnight shelter, Friends Place. Friends Place is a 40-bed emergency shelter for people experiencing homelessness. Last year, we served 269 people for 14,210 bed nights. Perhaps the most important thing about this shelter is that it is the largest emergency shelter for women in our community. Approximately 90% of our guests are currently women. Other vital things about Friends Place are that we prioritize Monroe County residents, ensuring that a resident can always receive a bed. We also prioritize people fleeing domestic violence. Although we are the 3rd nonprofit to run it altogether, Friends Place is the longest running emergency shelter for people experiencing homelessness in Bloomington. It's also the only local year-round emergency shelter for adults without a religious mission other than the care of its guests. Friends Place provides casework to its guests to help them find permanent homes. We believe in finding permanent solutions to homelessness, and our average stay last year was approximately 60 days, while over 50% exited to permanent housing. We also are active with the Heading Home collaboration and, as recommended, a housing first shelter, meaning our first priority is to help people find and stabilize in permanent housing as quickly as possible. In addition, we were a contributor to the Housing Action Plan to end street homelessness, and we fully support this plan. Homelessness is consistently rated as one of the biggest challenges for our city. In fact, on any given night in Bloomington, 305 people are experiencing homelessness, 63% of which are adults without children in their care. Given the unique support this service provides to our community, CDBG Social Services funding for Friends Place is an essential fit. As to partial funding, we recognize that partial funding is the common practice for this grant, but every dollar below full funding has to then go into other avenues to make up that money, leading us to put more time and money into fundraising. And if that becomes not possible, we would have to look at reducing hours of the shelter or case management support for housing. Friends Place is an important resource in our community that helps people get back on their feet. One of our former Friends Place clients, who is now housed, she's in school, and she is stably employed, said about this program, "I just have so much gratitude. It helped me as a stepping stone to be able to get where I am. I grew a lot as a person and it enriched my life. I learned a lot about myself. I would just like to say thank you." And from me, I appreciate your time and consideration, and now would like to open it up for questions.
I have a question. Is the grant designed to replace funding from another source that is going away or that you're not expecting to receive, or is it just new funding for this program?
This is, we've received this funding in the past, and it is part of our hoped Friends Place budget, normal budget. It's not replacing funding that has gone away.
So there's one question, let me say, I won't say this one time, not to each person presenting tonight. Thank you for your organization's services and thank you for your time to present and your organization's work to put a proposal together. So I'll say that one time and not repeat myself, but appreciate it all. One question about the seeking permanent housing for those of Friends House residents. Your numbers look good in the proposal, like you've met your benchmarks apparently, of what I can see and all that. I'm curious what you learned about follow-up, about people who are successfully transitioned to permanent housing. How does that last? And what have you learned from whatever data you have about that into how you help people, new folks who are coming in, seek that transition successfully?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that we know that going through certain channels, working with certain partnerships work. So whether that be helping someone get Section 8 vouchers or getting them in touch with permanent supportive housing or rapid rehousing, we know that these are programs that work and we've seen success in those. So we've got established partners, rapid rehousing and permanent supportive housing being two of Beacon's other programs. And so we have these relationships where we find based on casework and how the caseworkers get to know each individual client, understanding that everyone's unique, we get to know their specific situation and determine which path and which kind of assistance is most suitable for them.
Are there any other questions? Have anything else you wish to say? I don't know how much time you have left.
So if any members of the public are also here, we also need to provide an opportunity for public comment.
Okay, are there members of the public here that would like to give public comment at this time? Seeing none? Alright.
We're able to move on.
Yes, the next applicant on the list is the community kitchen. You want me to go here, Cody?
Yeah.
All right.
Hey guys. My name is Vicky. I'm the Executive Director of Community Kitchen. We appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. We are the largest provider of free meals in the community. We provided 302,900 meals and snacks last year to folks in our community. 58% of those folks were children, 9% were seniors, and 11% were experiencing homelessness at some point in the previous 6 months. So really, our focus groups are the most vulnerable in our community, while our doors are open 6 days a week to anyone in need. So we have our Roger Street location, which is, excuse me, it's a sit-down facility, our express location, which is carry out, and then we have a mobile food truck that's out 6 days a week. 3 of those days is here in the city, neighborhoods that folks have more trouble accessing our services. And then we have outreach programs for children in particular, and seniors, folks who are chronically ill. We feed Friends Place every day. And have our, have a couple of other programs that we provide as well. You know, what we're seeing right now is, of course, already some increases that we're being told by clients are because their SNAP benefits aren't coming. And so, you know, we're sort of bracing for that. You know, the community's been really responsive so far with a lot of extra food for us, which has been great. I know Julio and Jake have been working on getting some additional food through the food bank into the community so that we can meet those needs as they come in. But that's really what our focus has been right now. We've received CDBG funding for years and appreciate that support. We don't get a whole lot of government support, and so all of that we are able to acquire, we really appreciate it. It's a part of our funding model. I could talk all day, or I could stop talking now and find out if you have questions.
How much, that's a lot of people,
It is
a
a
lot of
meals.
meals. So what is the cost per meals when you break it down?
So our cost last year per meal, cash cost was $3.69.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was honestly, it stayed under or right at $2 for years. And then, you know, food prices started shooting up when gas prices did several years ago, and then just not gone back down. And so we've seen those costs continue to increase.
Thank you.
You looked like, were you gonna say something, Michael? I thought you had a question. Sorry, I thought your finger was up.
Oh, no, I will have one if no one else has.
Go ahead.
Well, Randy's been in existence for a while,
Yes,
43rd?
yes, yeah,
So congratulations, of course, that's no small matter, survival.
right.
And so I'm curious, I looked at some of the data from some what you've learned,
Uh-huh.
benchmarks and all. In addition to some immediate things like SNAP and such, what are the trends? What do you see? Just, I'm curious where you sit, where your organization sits by responsibility and purposes.
Yeah,
Relating particularly obviously to the grant and the replication and all that.
Yeah,
That's only
so-
the big picture of the universe, but.
so, you know, I've been at the kitchen for 21 years, so I could tell you all kinds of things that I've seen. But one of the things that, some of the things that have been most sort of impactful, big trends that we've seen is that when we moved 14 years ago, one of the things that we had been seeing for a couple of years and saw definitely for 5 or 6 years after that was more families with children coming to our facility. And so our current facility that we've been in 14 years, even though people still call it our new facility, it has a family dining room for folks who come as a family to be able to sit at a round table instead of a banquet table with strangers. The thing that we've seen obviously over the last 6 or 8 years is more folks with mental health issues and substance abuse issues. And, you know, just folks who are trying to manage that. And that's a multifaceted, complicated issue for obviously each individual person. You know, we're just aware of the fact that folks have to eat every day and, we wanna, for a lot of folks, we are really sort of part of their best plan for survival and managing other things. We do see a good number of seniors in our dining room every night. And for those folks in particular, they're on fixed income and we are part of their best plan. They can save some money by eating with us and get a healthier meal, a more robust meal too. And then be able to have more money for utility bills or medications or whatever they need. I'm not sure that completely answered your question, but that's what I'm throwing out there.
That's what you have to say, is what's the answer.
Okay,
I know there's a bus stop near your
Right in front,
facility.
yeah.
Right near it. So is that how a lot of people get to yours, using the bus? So
it's been a handful of years since we asked people how they got there. There have been other people who come on foot. Bunch of them come on the bus, some of them drive, and some of them bike. And there's a good mix of all of those. But yeah, we get a significant number of folks who ride the bus. Anything else? Well, thank you for your time.
and thank you.
Do you need to ask the public?
Are there
All my colleagues.
Public who would like to comment at this time?
Yeah, I'm just gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next presentation comes from the Boys and Girls Club.
For letting me slide in. I was coming from downstairs with the physical improvement presentation, so happy to be up here now. Thank you all for your work. Thanks for doing this work. I know it's a lot to look at and to read about and to sift through, but we really appreciate it. We appreciate the funding provided by CDBG over the years to the clubs. Just telling you a little bit about our organization with Boys and Girls Clubs of Bloomington. Been around 70 years as of next year. We're serving our highest number of kids ever. So we have about 700 kids a day in our buildings, more kids than ever before that we have seen. And we're continuing to grow. Usually we plateau about this time of year, but our attendance just keeps going up and up and up. We still have kids registering and coming to us. So the need is there. And funding like this helps us to meet that need. So we charge $20 a year to be a member of the club. They can come every single day for 20 bucks. We rely on community donations to make up the difference. It certainly does not cost us $20 a year to provide that programming. We have a lot of parents that do donate, so if they can give more, families do cover more of the true cost of their kids. For example, my kids go and I cover the cost of my kids and 2 other ones, right? There's a lot of families that do that, but majority of our families really can't do a whole lot more than that. And so that's really who we're there to serve. Our mission says we're there to serve the kids who need us most. And those are the kids who need us most. And so we charge the $20 a year. If families have 5 or 6 kids and that feels like a burden to them, we also let them make payments and those kinds of things as well. We'll scholarship them if we need to and cover at least half the cost. We want them to have some skin in the game, but not much, some of them. And so we're able to do that again because of funding from CDBG. The Crestmont Club specifically is what we're asking for funding for tonight. That is our highest need club. So over 80% of our kids that come to the Crestmont Club are on free and reduced lunch. About 68% of them are from single parent households or non-parent households. They're living with a relative or in a foster family, things like that. We provide snacks thanks to Community Kitchen and Hoosier Hills Food Bank partnerships, and we provide meals to the Crestmont Club as well. And then a safe place to be until 7 o'clock at night. We bus the kids from the club or from school to the club, so the parents don't have to worry about how their kid is going to get to the club after school. And then we're open all summer long. So parents still work in the summer, even though kids are off. And so from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., kids are at the club all summer long as well. And so funding from CDBG helps us to support staffing at that location to keep kids safe. We have to keep adult to kid ratios appropriate as according to the law of the state of Indiana. And so really staffing and facilities are our biggest costs. And downstairs talking about facilities and now I'm upstairs talking about staffing. So that's really the request for today, and thank you so much for hearing it, and I'd love to take any questions, yeah.
How many locations are there?
We have 4 locations, we have 3 in Monroe County and 2 in Bloomington, so 1 at the Lincoln Street
Right.
location, and then the Ferguson Crestmont location is in the Crestmont neighborhood.
Like, yeah, just a membership, I think it's interesting, all this to me, for all organizations, I think if I just read, I haven't read for scoring yet, I've read for beginning this information.
Sure.
I think, Prescott, I think it's something like 536 members, I think was the
Yeah.
figure there.
Yeah.
There was a benchmark or goal for the 25-26 school year to increase by 10%.
Mhm.
I'm less interested in exactly where you are.
Sure.
Is, what are you learning about membership? What helps, why do people join? And how does that relate to your grant application or application of these funds?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think people join because it's the most affordable childcare for after school care in town. I think we provide high quality programs. We built trust in the community. I think people trust the Boys and Girls Club and they feel like their kids are safe after school as opposed to having them go home alone. If you could guess, what's the time of day where there's the highest juvenile crime in the community? If you had to guess. Oh, right after school, yeah, so after school until it gets dark, so. We love just keeping kids occupied, right? I mean, there's kids get in trouble for lots of reasons. Most of the time, they're just bored, honestly, and looking for something to do. And so we engage with kids. We give them leadership opportunities. We help them to feel like they have a purpose and they're having fun after school. They're learning. They sometimes don't know it. I was tutoring a kid the other day and he goes, "We didn't even learn anything today." And I was like, "Oh, that's a good tutoring session." He didn't even know I was teaching him today. We were playing games and he was learning math and he didn't even realize it. So that's, I think parents love that we are doing things with their kids that keep them engaged. And it's $20 a year. I hear parents all the time like, "Oh, it's a no brainer. Of course I can send my kid for $20 a year somewhere instead of sending them home by themselves." So I think that's really what drives membership for us is, and word of mouth is our biggest reason people sign up is they know another family or their kids talked about it or their friends go to the club or they trust a family that told them about it. So yeah, great question. We'd love to serve more. We have space in that building to serve more kids, so we could fit more kids in, yeah.
I noticed that you have 500 members in the Crestmont area, but you typically only have about 100 of them at the club each day.
Correct, yeah.
Is there some way you could increase that, or?
Yeah.
You have any plans for trying to increase that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a drop-in program, so the nature of it is that they can come when they need to. We talk about regularly attending members, and we're always trying to get that regularly attending member number up a little bit, that percentage of people who come every day versus our registered members. Some of that's kids play sports after school. They have other stuff going on. Their parents are home early on those Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatever it is. But yeah, I think we're always looking at ways to get kids engaged. A lot of times it's what programs are running that day. So if they like, maybe they're taking violin lessons at the club and violin lessons are Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. So they come Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So what can we do to draw them in on Tuesdays and Thursdays? And so it's kind of playing with that mix of programming and trying to understand what gets kids to want to be there, especially the older they get, when parents feel more comfortable leaving them at home. Then we really have to entice them to want to come. Because they really need us then too. They don't know it as much, but they really do need us then too. So that's a good question. We're always working on it. Yeah.
I know you said that the hours in the summertime is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Do
Yep.
you notice an increase or decrease during the summertime?
Yeah, we have less kids in the summer, but they come more often. So it's, more regularly coming in the summertime. But there are kids that go on vacation or they go to grandma and grandpa's or they're staying with friends, or kids are kind of all over the place in the summer. Maybe they're doing a summer camp, something like that. So fewer kids, about 500 kids a day in the summer as opposed to 700 kids a day in the school year, but they come more regularly in the summer. Yeah, the ones that come most days. It's a good question.
You said you're experiencing a lot of growth in your membership that you typically don't see this time of year. Are you seeing a shift in the demographics of people who are joining as members with that increased growth? Or are you just seeing a larger population of the same groups of people?
I think it's, I don't know, honestly. That's a good, thing for us to look at, a data point for us to look at. I think it's just more people understanding that the club is for them. Anecdotally, that's what I think is that it's not just for the kids who need it most, but it's for all kids it's available to. And so I think post-pandemic, people are coming sort of a little bit away from working at home as much and they're going back into offices and those kinds of things. And maybe they're realizing like, oh, I can send my kid to the club. So that's anecdotally my answer, but it would be a good data point to look at.
I just didn't know if maybe it's a utilization of certain demographic segments of Bloomington that was utilizing it for certain reasons, or and it's obviously there's a lot of data points right now that point to why you have increased membership. So it'd just be interesting to know, what's kind of driving that and what kind of services those people are utilizing relative to your typical like
For sure.
everyday people.
It would be, I always think the lower the less money you spend on us, I always say that, boys and girls club, we need to drive our costs down, not up. Cause they need groceries, they need to pay utilities, they need to pay rent, they need to pay bus fare, like, we don't want them to be paying us for those services, so that's why we have community support to make that happen, and I think that we provide that relief in that way to help free up resources for them to spend on other things. Yeah.
There any comments from the public that want to be made at this time? Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
The next one on the list is Courage to Change Sober Living.
Hi. My name's Marilyn Grimes, and I'm the Executive Director and Co-founder of Courage to Change Sober Living. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today and to share the mission and work of our organization. At Courage to Change Sober Living, we are dedicated to supporting individuals on their journey to recovery and empowering them to build healthy, fulfilling lives. When Courage to Change began, it was after I had gone through the struggles of substance misuse. I was working at New Leaf, New Life and working with people coming out of jail. The main problem that I could identify was those being released from jail that had nowhere to go. Our goal is to give people a safe place to live and to learn new habits and live with others with the same goal. We are asking for your support in granting us money for the salaries of our 3 case managers. As a level 2 certified recovery resident, we are required to have case managers. We also know that they are vital to the work we do. Funding from CDBG will help to pay part of their salaries. One of our main goals is to facilitate those that have struggled with substance misuse and are unhoused in our community. These are individuals who are involved in the legal system or who have gone to rehab facility. Most of our potential clients have nowhere to reside after leaving jail or rehab. Their substance misuse has created many obstacles to housing. One of the most important aspects of successful recovery is to have a place to live. At Courage to Change, we provide a safe place to live with oversight by our case managers. Our case managers work 25 hours a week, but are on call to our clients 24/7. They play an important role in the lives of those residing in our houses. Our case managers do weekly house meetings with our clients to go over their concerns and help them in setting goals. They also do drug screening and oversee the guidelines of our houses. These include being good neighbors, doing chores necessary to keep the house in good order. They oversee the curfews and monitor the 12-step meetings our clients must attend. Without case managers, our clients would not have the direction needed to stay on target to meet their goals. Courage to Change also impacts the housing issue, and we also impact the recidivism rate. Our clients have an 85% rate of not returning to the legal system. And we let our clients stay for a year. And if it gets to the point we're at a year, if we can't find housing for them, and they've been looking and they can't find anything, we will lengthen that time so that they don't our goal is to get them into another place so that they can have success. And so we let them stay with us throughout that time of being able to find a place to live. So that's Courage to Change. Thank you for your time. If you have questions, happy to answer them.
How many houses do you currently have?
We have 5 houses.
And how many people are in each house?
Well, the most we have is 8 to house. Our clients share bedrooms, and the reason we do that is because we try to set a community, and isolation is part of substance misuse, and so we don't want isolation. So we put them together. We have one house that has 5, but all 4 other houses can hold 8 people. And we always have enough room. We're under the guidelines of the state recovery works. And so they do, and they have guidelines that are really stricter than hand, as far as the amount of room they have and how we set it up, for our clients. So it's comfortable and safe.
Do the case managers live in the houses or do they come to the houses to do the case management?
They do not live in the houses. They do go to the houses. They're in communication with the clients on a regular. My women's case manager, they keep a group Facebook chat going all the time. So they're always communicating. But they do not live there.
I heard you say that 12-step programs are mandatory.
I'm sorry?
12-step programs are mandatory for your residents?
Yes, they are. When you're in the legal system, if you're on probation or parole, a lot of times they'll put those stipulations on them. But for us, our Bloomington's got a really strong recovery community, and 12-step meetings is a part of that. And so we feel that it's important that they attend. So they're required 3 meetings a week.
Okay, 3 meetings a week.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you.
How many people are usually assigned to one case manager?
Oh, okay, so our women's case manager has 13 clients. And we have one men's case manager that right now has 16. And then our other one has 8. We'd like to get one more house so that he can have 16. We do have cameras in our houses in the common areas. So we have curfews, and we also have, it's called One Step, and it's an app where you actually have to, basically it has a GPS on it. Not that we want to locate them all the time, but we want to know when they came in, and because we do have curfews. And then also we can monitor that they've been at the 12-step meeting. Because all of our meetings are on that app, and they can check in at a meeting and then check out when they leave. So we do have a good amount of oversight.
You mentioned that your case managers are on call 24/7.
Yeah.
Does this mean that they work extra hours that they don't actually get paid for, or is that included in their 24 hours, 25 hours?
Yeah, I'm the executive director, so my phone is always 24/7. So we try and get them to, if something really is going on that I can help them, then they can call me. But for the other part, when people are first in recovery, they need that little extra help. So the hours, I would say 25 hours does cover that, because it's not a constant 20, people are not reaching out to them constantly during that time. But they do know that if they need something, there's someone that is there for them.
Are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for letting us put the grant in. Bye.
And the next applicant on the list is Hoosier Hills Food Bank.
Hello. Hello. I'm Julio Alonso. I'm Executive Director of Hoosier Hills Food Bank. I'm here with our Associate Director, Jake Bruner. And we appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight in your consideration and have support of the food bank through CDBG funding. We are in the business of collecting and distributing food. We collect and distribute about 5.8 million pounds of food each year, and distribute that through direct service programs and through a network of about 84 partner agencies in 6 counties, including 6 of the 10 other agencies on the list tonight. We work very closely with them. What we are seeking support for from CDBG is our oldest program, and essentially the genesis of what we are, our local food collection and distribution route. We started as and are in essence a food rescue organization. We collect food from places that have excess that might otherwise be wasted, and we get that food out through those systems, through our direct service programs and our agencies to people in need. This program works with about a dozen donors on a regular basis. Our driver goes out every day and collects food from primarily retailers, and then takes that food and distributes it to 5 agencies within the city of Bloomington. Some of that food also makes its way to other agencies like Pantry 279 that aren't located in the city but serve a lot of city residents. Our goal really is to support the agencies that we work with so that they can have food for their programs and they can then focus on their programs. It's kind of like what they're doing and we do with direct service for the individuals that are being served, taking food off the table sort of as an issue so that they have that and then they can then focus on other aspects of their life and have enough money for medicine and childcare and rent and things like that. Being sufficiently fed enough to be healthy and to be able to be active and successful in the community. The food that we collect from this kind of process through rescue is supplemented in a number of ways. We also receive food through USDA commodity programs from the federal government. We do community food drives, or community food drives are done for us. We grow food at our garden and garden program, and we purchase food from local farmers, from wholesalers, and from our partnerships with Feeding America, the National Food Bank Network. So essentially pull this food from every corner that we can get and get it out to those agencies and our neighbors through our direct service programs. We've been around for a little over 40 years and again have appreciated the support that you've shown us. It is a very difficult time for us right now. Hopefully this funding will not impact the shutdown, because the shutdown won't last into the next fiscal year when this one starts. But the shutdown is having an enormous impact on the Supplemental Food Assistance Network right now. So it's a challenging time. With that, I would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
I don't have a question, but when I read your proposal, I was, to be honest with you, astounded by the cost per unit of service. You want to tell everybody what that is? I think it was pretty well.
Yeah, sure. I think we indicated 19 cents as our cost per unit of service here.
I just couldn't, when I saw that, I was just really, I have to compliment you. That is just amazing.
Well, thank you. But I mean, that is a testament to the kind of organization we are and the support that we receive from the community. A great deal of the food that comes in is donated food. So that really helps us to keep the cost down, even though purchasing directly has become a significantly more important source of food for us.
In the last year, what is that cost going up? And obviously we all go to the grocery, food is getting more expensive. So how much is your cost going up just in the last year purchasing food?
That's difficult to say because our purchasing food is really driven by the amount of support we can raise to do that.
Okay.
So the costs for the items that we buy is definitely increased. unfortunately, I don't think I could give you a specific percentage or number, but all food is costing more, I can definitely tell you that, even when you're buying it in volume like we are.
Thank you.
What effects have you noticed that the shutdown is having on your organization?
Aside from not getting any sleep for the last 2.5 weeks, it's having a big impact. We are already seeing significantly higher numbers of folks at our mobile pantries, and hearing from our partner agencies that they're seeing a lot of increased traffic. I believe the 5th, which I think was Tuesday, maybe was the first day that in Indiana, SNAP beneficiaries did not receive their benefits. But even in the week or so prior to that, because of all the press that this has gotten, people were preparing for the fact that they wouldn't be getting their benefits. So they're getting out to food pantries ahead of that so that they can get food into their houses and stored up. We do one of the distributions we do is at Limestone Square here in Bloomington. We did that one last night and it served 148 households compared to 90 households the month prior. So we're already seeing the numbers increase significantly.
Thank you for the work. It seems to me you're not just in the pickup and food delivery business, it's collaboration across the board. I'm curious, because you got a lot of moving parts, but I'm curious, in terms of the program for which funds are being sought, how are these funds supportive of the relationship building among partners, if they are, how you say it, to make it work most effectively?
They absolutely are supportive of that, and collaboration is the nature of what we do. We do some direct service programs like that mobile pantry that I was just talking about, but the majority of the work we do is providing food to those partner agencies, to food pantries, to kitchens, to shelters, to boys and girls clubs. Getting them the food that they need, not 100% of it, obviously, but as much as we possibly can, so that they don't have to worry about that as much and can focus on the programs that they're doing, whether it's providing meals or providing youth programming, or whatever the case might be. So everything we do really is collaborative. And our goal is always to bring in more food to support these agencies and to support them with the type of food that they need to the best degree that we can. That's where purchasing becomes more important, because with donations, obviously, we're very grateful for whatever we get, but you can't control nutritional content or quality or quantity just based on donations. And that's what purchasing is important, because it allows us that kind of flexibility.
Hi, Michelle Gilchrist here. First of all, thank you for the work that you're doing. I know food banks across the country are struggling, and even though it's hard for you locally, it's great to see the community come around you as an organization and provide the resources. My question is more on the impact. I think it's very important that we continue to sustain this particular program for what it does for the community. What impact has the loss of funding, not necessarily the shutdown, but a lot of food banks depend on federal funding to be able to provide the resources and services that it provides. How dependent has your organization been, and what financial impact has that had?
Sure. Well, last year, for example, about 25% of the food that we distributed overall came through federal government sources. It was federal commodities. We saw a significant cut to that earlier this year when one of those programs, the Commodity Credit Corporation program, was terminated. That food and funding was coming through us through the TFAP program, which is sort of the bread and butter, the Emergency Food Assistance Program. That's where most of the commodities that we're able to distribute out to agencies comes through. So we lost about 9% of our food when that program ended. In terms of funding, most of those programs come with some administrative funding. We haven't really yet determined the impact of that. Any funding that came with CCC is gone, of course. But everything is up in the air right now with the shutdown until the federal budget gets through. And so what we're facing right now is that for that program, for example, food that's been ordered and paid for through November will still be delivered. So we're still receiving shipments of that. But they're not making any more purchases going forward. And you know, if the shutdown goes on much longer, we're going to run into lags due to supply chain issues. I mean, those orders have to be placed well in advance to get them out to the states and then out to the food banks. So we could be seeing a more significant impact of that later in December and in January.
Thank you.
Well,
Who's the member on Zoom that hasn't been introduced?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. She had joined in a little late, but this is Michelle Gilchrist. She is listed on the agenda as one of the members, but yeah, she actually had another meeting prior to this, joining us.
Okay, great.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Cody. I apologize. I had a finance meeting right before here and I didn't want to miss this meeting, so.
Were there any comments or questions from the public? I guess we can move on then.
thank you very much.
Thank you. And the next presentation will be made by Middleway House.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Timmons, and I am the grants manager at Middleway House. We are local to Bloomington and serve survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and human trafficking within our community. We are home to the New Wings Emergency Shelter, which houses survivors who are actively fleeing a situation of violence, stalking, harassment, or human trafficking, as well as any dependent children a survivor may have. This service operates 24/7, 365 days a year. We're operational on holidays, weekends, or other non-traditional working hours. We are the only organization of its kind within Bloomington serving survivors. In 2024, we served 125 adults and 103 children with a total of 5,233 shelter nights. Through CDBG social services funding, we will serve extremely low income or low to moderate income families who are considered homeless due to domestic violence. Most individuals served are residents of the city of Bloomington. Funding will support the staffing of part-time resident advocates within the emergency shelter. These advocates ensure that our shelter is properly staffed during those non-business hours. We wouldn't be able to operate without them. Our part-time resident advocates are responsible for conducting shelter requests and intakes during those evening hours, meeting with any residents who can't meet during daytime hours, sharing referral resources, working to resolve any conflicts within shelter, maintaining client records, and providing on-call services on a rotating basis as necessary. Our part-time RAs also provide crucial emotional support during evening hours. And we see a lot of survivors who need that sort of crisis intervention during the night or during the evening, times where they might feel most vulnerable when the world goes a little quiet. The goal of our project is to increase residents' knowledge on community resources available to them and allow them to exit to safe, secure housing away from an abuser. We also do at least 2 safety planning sessions with all of our adult survivors to ensure that they remain safe after exiting our program. So again, CDBG Social Services allows us to continue staffing those essential roles and making sure that survivors in our community have a safe listening ear to go to when they need it. Thank you.
You mentioned a new emergency shelter. Could you give us a little more information about that? Or is this not?
The name of our emergency shelter is New Wings. We've been operating it in some capacity for over 50 years, but that's just the title.
Or any other questions? Any comments from the public? I guess we're ready to move on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And next on the agenda is my sister's closet. We have someone here from my sister's closet, either on Zoom or I guess not here in the room.
They were also physical improvements applicants as well, so there could be a possibility that they may still be downstairs. But if they're not here,
You wanna call them at the end or?
We could move them to the end of the agenda and see if they arrive late. So we will move on to New Hope for Families.
Hi, hello all, my name's Chase. I am the operations director over at New Hope for Families. Thank you guys for serving on this committee. I know CDBG has a lot of technical details and the town plan is a big document, so I'm really grateful for y'all parsing through all those applications and all those things to make the best use of these funds. As you guys know, Bloomington has a lack of affordable housing and a lack of affordable childcare. And put together, families with children, especially children birth to 5, struggle to find the decent affordable childcare that would enable them to work enough hours to pay their rent, meet their other basic needs. Today in Monroe County, anywhere between 30 and 40% of the individuals who are experiencing homelessness, that means they're sleeping outside or in shelter, are members of a family with children. You're not going to see them outside. You're not going to see them at the park because they're at New Home, they're at Middle Way, they're safe and in shelter. But nevertheless, it's a big proportion of people who are sleeping in shelter or outside. And the majority of those people are ages 6 and younger. You're most
age, what, please?
6 and younger.
Okay, thank you.
You're most likely to experience homelessness, you're most vulnerable to it in your first year of age. It's when a family might sleep outside or in shelter. I think those statistics speak to the way the two issues are intertwined. Families need childcare so they can work, keep their homes. When childcare is missing, we see people lose the other two, they lose out on income and housing. So as many of you are also aware, recent state funding cuts have cut the CCDF voucher program. It used to be called the Casey voucher that makes childcare income-based. It helps working low-income families afford childcare. They lowered, the way it was cut was they had stopped issuing any new vouchers. So no one's going to get income-based childcare for the next 2 years or indefinitely. But they also lowered the rate that they'll reimburse. So everybody who has it right now is now going to have to pay more out of pocket.
They stopped it for 2026. Did they also stop it for 27 also?
Yeah.
Okay.
New guidance has just come out, so it was forestalled. So that means that the people who are currently enrolled at our early learning center are exposed to more costs, and they're exposed to losing that voucher and not being able to get it back. We serve, sorry, let me get back to my minutes here. I have a train of thought. Early Learning Indiana survey reported that in response to that, 19% of childcare providers have closed at least one classroom already because of lack of enrollment. 12% are at serious risk of just closing altogether, mainly because low-income families with these vouchers are just disenrolling because they can't afford the extra bit. Conversely, New Hope is trying to keep families enrolled. I can think of, we reserve half of our enrollment for kids who are affected by homelessness. Close to 70% of our enrollment are using the CCDF voucher. And we have about 53 kids enrolled there. In my son's 2-year-old classroom, one family stayed in the shelter 2 years ago. They've got 2 years sober. Their 2-year-old is there. She's thriving. They're thriving in employment. Another one is a mom who had gone through the shelter, flutter abuser. Her 2-year-old son is also there enrolled. She just finished her CNA. Both of those, all the children there are meeting or exceeding developmental milestones, whereas by rights, people who experience these big traumatic events, their children have really adverse experiences. So we're trying to reverse that and hang on to these families and preserve their vouchers. So that's what this application is all about, trying to make sure that we don't have to raise our prices because we don't have as much revenue coming in from that voucher, and make sure that families don't have to pay more, even if we don't raise our prices. So I just wanted to draw just a couple details from the application. with the remainder of my time, because I know that you guys take a close look at 1 minute. Units of service. The total program budget is about $1 million to run the Early Learning Center. The CCDF shortfall is a little over $149,000, about 15% loss that we're expecting. So our unit of service, we think with the $25,000, we can give about 1,800 weeks of childcare. And that would be $79.69 per week. So it's not the total cost of care. We fundraise above and beyond what families pay in tuition is $385 per week, but we would be claiming $79.69 because we're claiming that gap, not the total cost.
I had a question about that.
Sure.
Why is there such a difference between the $79 and the $385? What costs are included in the $385? That's what I wanted.
$385 is the cost per student of the total budget. So all the staff, all the overhead and utilities and things like that. The classroom rate is lower than that, so we fundraise that extra bit. And because we want to keep prices low for middle income families too. And the CCDF voucher, so sorry, it's a little technical, but I think we'll get there. CCDF gets really close to the full cost, close to the room rate, and the families pay that little bit in the middle. They pay a copay based on their income. And we're saying $79 per week is what they're now exposed to every week because their reimbursement rate is lost. So it's a little technical. We're right in the middle of that sandwich where that's what they would be paying. But we're not going to make them pay it.
Some of the other expenses of your program, though, your overall program, beyond the childcare, is that included in the $385?
Nope, that is our Early Learning Center's program budget. We have extra staff and we have extra staff. We have some retention bonuses and things like that built into the budget because a lot of the children that we serve have been through a lot of traumatic events. So they present with, it's difficult for those children to make transitions. People come in and out because they're moving to the shelter. So we have extra staff and we have some extra supportive measures and things that it costs more to provide services. So we fundraise that extra bit.
I have a few questions. What is the average length of stay?
At the shelter,
Yes.
families who enter the shelter would otherwise sleep outside in the vehicle. No children that we are aware of sleep outside in the vehicle in our community, in our 6-county region, thanks to a lot of different partnerships, including the city. If they come, they get childcare, which is what this is helping to underwrite. Then the parents get income and they pair that income on a place to live as fast as they can. Families stay in shelter for about 90 days on average. 82% leave to release in their name. And
So
then they can
82
stay enrolled at the Early Learning Center.
There seems to be a lot of competition for housing and for placement. So how is that coordinated in the city of Bloomington?
For families to find housing.
Yeah,
There are 3 full-time housing specialists who help families move quickly through the crisis of homelessness. And then they follow up with them for 3 years after they leave. So families they can remain enrolled at the Early Learning Center because we want them to keep that income and keep their housing. Yeah.
Do you notice any statistics that like, you might not know them off the top of your head, but about how many people usually stay like not homeless after they leave your shelter?
We have an exceedingly low recidivism rate, and it's because we follow up with families and make sure they stay safe. Statewide, families who are exiting the shelter, only about 32% of them are leaving to a lease in their name. And we're doing
I'm sorry.
90%. Only about 32% of people leave a homeless shelter to housing.
okay, fine.
Most leave to another shelter, to couch surf, to do something other than have a built housing. So that because we have the Early Learning Center there, it really undergirds people's ability to get all the way over having to return to an abuser, having to return to an uninhabitable place. And then they stay enrolled. The other point before we get too far is that in our statement of financial position, I want to bring up that we do have a IU credit union certified deposit account that has $400,000 in it, and that is deferred revenue from 2 3-year grants that are already they gave us the money up front. So we do have a lot of cash in the bank, but that is allocated toward other activities already, especially following up with families for 3 years And we have all of our an early learning center has a lead teacher and they're supported by assistant teachers. All of our assistant teachers are in a 2-year associate's degree through Abbey Tech called our Jumpstart program. They're going to become master teachers and help with the shortage of teachers in childcare. So that's what that big amount there is on the books. So those were the two things that the details, financial details, I'm going to highlight for you.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
You said that they follow up with them 3 years after, like how closely is that follow-up?
The case managers will call you once a month, every month for 3 years. They will do a survey with you 3 to 4 times a year, and you'll get $100 incentive to take the survey. It's about childhood well-being and so. They also have a reentry prevention fund that's in pay bills, help people get their car battery fixed or whatever, do things that are related to helping them maintain their housing.
What percentage of people stay in the county and city?
The huge majority of people get housing in Monroe County.
In the county?
Sometimes, like, I can think of like 6 people who have lived in like Ellettsville or Bedford. But our housing specialists know about our community and they know how to help people get established and get here. Also, the huge majority of people who experience homelessness are having a housing crisis that originated in Monroe County or Bloomington.
That's good to know.
Yeah, we don't see in families, we're seeing people on their first night of homelessness. They still have custody of a child. It means that they have not been sleeping outside with that child for years and years. So a lot of it's really is tied to local. And then that's especially true for the early learning center. People do not stay enrolled if they move to Bedford because they've got why would they drop off their kid here if they live far away? So everybody at the early learning center is in Bloomington. I think there's only 2 or 3 families that are not living in the city limits who are would be affected by this limit.
Okay, are there any comments from the public? All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And we will do number 9, new life, and is someone here from my sister's closet? Yes. Yeah, we deferred you to the end. Appreciate that, thank you. So I guess we're going to hear from New Leaf, New Life now.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Heather Scott Bland, and I am a reentry case manager and coordinator for New Leaf New Life. New Leaf New Life is an organization serving residents in Monroe County since 2005. Our service center primarily on community members who are currently or formerly impacted by the legal system. New Leaf New Life facilitates weekly programs inside the Monroe County Correctional Center with a Read to Me program in partnership with the Monroe County Public Library, as well as re-entry planning classes. And these classes build relationships with New Leaf staff while collaborating strategies for success after release. At our transitional center, we offer case management by our certified peer recovery credentialed staff through our re-entry mentorship program. In 2011, Perry Township trustees donated office space at 1010 South Walnut Street, where we provide the reentry support services. These services include, but are not limited to, obtaining a copy of their birth certificate, photo ID, assistance with getting HIP insurance and SNAP benefits, help getting a cell phone, employment referrals in partnership with Goodwill Industries. We help with treatment and sober living placement and referrals. We can provide assistance with fees for the first 2 weeks if our mentees don't have the resources to pay the initial bed fees. This prevents many of these vulnerable community members from being unhoused or returning to unsafe, unsupportive environments that led to their arrest in the first place. We give them an opportunity for change. They're met with compassion by our staff who has personal lived experience with incarceration, substance misuse, or have been impacted within their immediate families. They're given hygiene items, clothing, bus tickets, encouragement, and hope. New Leaf New Life is an organization that is available to any person during their involvement with the legal system or throughout their journey back into the community.
New Leaf, New Life has requested funding to support staffing costs so we can continue to provide these vital services to our community. This will provide approximately 3,000 hours of mentorship. The 2024 State of Indiana Department of Corrections recidivism rate was 32.6% in 2024. At the end of this October, the recidivism rate for our mentees was 13.27%, and the mentees that were given treatment, sober living, and housing referrals were tracked at just under 2%. Our staff provides a unique service that served nearly 500 new mentees last year, and the numbers are climbing. Last month, we served 55 new mentees and 189 were returning. We found that the relationships with the staff and the services that we provide are truly making a difference in our community. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us to speak about what we're doing. And I can take any questions you have.
You had mentioned that you help anyone, you don't turn anyone away, it sounds like. Is there a prioritization for those living in Bloomington?
So we serve people who are coming from incarceration in Monroe County. Now, if someone calls from Owen County and they were incarcerated there, they're getting our services or they are being referred into Monroe County. That's very few and far between. We also go and we speak at DOC facilities, but it's just for District 5, which are paroled to Monroe County.
So I guess my question would be is if you have people that are incarcerated in Monroe County, but they are not from here, they just got caught there, are put in the legal system, so now they are part of that legal system. Once they're released, are they able to utilize your services, or are they fielded out to kind of a home area for them for similar services?
So what we do is we coordinate with the other 91 counties and we help get them services, a warm transfer over to where they're going, connect them with resources there, help them find housing. We also have gotten funding through another grant to provide transportation through Greyhound or Uber Business to be able to get them home to their families or to, their home base so they can have resources or sober living there. We don't just drop people, but we do like to get them back to where they're going to be most successful.
I know that you said you usually connect them with SNAP benefits. How has that been affected with all the current things going on in the current administration?
We are so fortunate to be in the same building as the township trustee, which has a food pantry that's connected 2 doors down to where we are. We also distribute Finding Food in Monroe County, which coordinates our participants with warm meals, Hoosier Hills Food Bank, Pantry 279, churches, anybody who is distributing food, we can let them know when, where, and how. And we also, collaborate with agencies for pop-up things, for warm meals, for warming shelters. And so we have our ear to the pulse of things that are happening and moving and adapting, pivoting with it to try to best serve people and can keep them fed.
We'll do first, please.
Okay.
I'm curious about just relating particularly to what the request is here. How is your thinking at the organization about partnerships change, if it has, over time? To be part of those partners for the agency to make your work successful?
I think our collaboration and partnerships are growing. I mean, last month we looked and we had referrals from 20 different agencies, whether it was another social service agency, whether it was sober living, the justice system. I mean, we get several referrals from the public defender, from the correctional center, from problem solving court. And so we're continuing to nurture these relationships. Our assistant director sits on the committee of the downtown resource officers, which collaborate every single Wednesday to talk about people who are unhoused in our community, people that may need treatment. I mean, we have our basis of people coming from reentry, but we are also prevention. If someone is unhoused, we're working with different agencies to get someone into treatment or to get someone housed or to try to help someone so it doesn't lead to incarceration.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to do a follow-up. You speak about the county, but in the city of Bloomington itself, how are you I mean, are the services being provided to Bloomington? I mean, here in the city for the county,
Yes.
I'm a little confused.
So we are in the city and we provide within the city. We talk about Monroe County because it is the Monroe County Correctional Center. But we are based out of Bloomington, the city of Bloomington.
Do you keep track of whether people are residents of Bloomington, residents of the county, or what?
So we keep track of which township. So if they're Perry Township, Bloomington Township, if they are county, or if they are city. So yes, we do track that.
Okay. Are there any comments or questions from the public? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Thank you.
All right, we will now go back to number 7, my sister's closet. If you could come up here closer to the alley so that we can be sure that your presentation is picked up on the.
I've invited Marcy Hibbert with me. If I could get another seat for her, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much. Where's an owl? Oh, okay, all right. Hello, my name is Sandy Keller. I'm the executive director and founder of My Sister's Closet. And with me is Marcy Hibbert, our vice president of development. We are here tonight to discuss our financial wellness programming called Rounding Up to Financial Success. My Sister's Closet helps women coming to us from all kinds of different situations of low income status and at-risk status. The majority of the women we are serving are living in single parent households. Many of them have 1 to 5 children. Some of their children are in foster care and they're trying to get them back because they're in a situation of homelessness. Other times they are trying to move past addictions and other issues so that they can be able to have their kids back with them again. The women that we work with are regularly coming from situations where they have not had any kind of education on financial wellness at all. For a lot of them, they might have a debit card, but they have never balanced a checking account, for example, even though they own one. They don't have savings accounts. They don't have checking accounts. They're wanting to be able to find employment. That is the biggest reason why women come to My Sister's Closet. They are wanting to become self-sufficient. And we are in an age where, you are judged if you do not have a good credit report. People search those things out. A lot of the women that we work with have been abused by payday loan companies. They have other people in their life that put their hand out and ask for their paycheck after they've earned it, so that as soon as they have money, somebody else has decided that that is theirs. One of the bigger things that we do with our programming is teaching them how to have the self-confidence and the ownership over your own finances so that you learn a new language, with one of the words being no. We want these women to feel like that they are independent so that they have the ability to pay for things when they come up, not everybody else's emergencies, but to be able to actually have a goal written down of things that they would like to achieve. Maybe fixing a tire on a car that's not running anymore because they need to replace it. Maybe they're wanting to save for a deposit, so that they can move into their own apartment. There are lots of different things that we work with them to help them, meet with job success. Our program is structured with mentors and advocates like Marcy, who was in the banking industry at JC Bank, who oversees our program. And the idea is that we help them feel like that they are not alone. Not knowing how to manage your money is a very, very isolating thing. If you feel like you've got a team, if you've got people that are helping you win, then you understand that this is not as hard as you thought it was. So we work with them to understand how to create a budget. And we identify one thing on that budget, and we have a match program that for every $50 you save, we will toss in $10 towards that goal. We don't give it to you until the goal is achieved. The average goal that we set, we want to try to make achievable of about $300, so that when you are getting to that goal, we are writing the check with you, and we are making sure that it's going to the car mechanic, it's going to the landlord so that you have that deposit, so that you are starting to see that success. We don't want someone to just achieve one goal. We want to identify several small goals. If we can get you to stick with us so that you become a habitual saver, then we are going to possibly change the way that you see the power of your own dollar and your own ability to be able to meet with life success. We know that from national statistics, if we are able to help women learn how to save, families learn how to save, then we are able to help them achieve other goals. For example, holding down a job and being able to be consistent in other things in their life so that they are seen as credible, reliable, respectable, professional job applicants, so that we increase their employability and so that we help them to become known by the banking industry so that they feel like they've got people supporting them on the other side. We are respectfully asking for $25,000 to support this program. So with the financial ask, with the work shop workbooks and tools, with some paid mentoring help from staff so that we can make sure that we have somebody consistently working with them. We are reaching out to other organizations as well to invite their clients to be part of this.
So if I'm just, I understand a second, when they're saving up for a goal, they save up $50 and then you give them 10, or do they have to
Yes.
basically save up 5/6 of their entire goal and then you both go in and pay?
No,
Okay.
because it's a little bit at a time. You know, think about it. If you have somebody cheering you on a little bit
Okay.
at a time,
Yeah,
then you're excited about the next $50. If you have to save up 300, but you have to get to 250 first, most of them will not be able to achieve that. It's just too hard. This makes it more achievable. We have success built in along the way where we are rewarding them. They graduate with a certificate of success, and we kind of throw a celebration party when you achieve one of these goals. But we want them to feel like that they have a team behind them and then it is a huge, huge celebration.
and so how is their savings verified? Do they just like show you like the bank account, or do they give that money to you to hold on to?
No,
or-
we
okay.
do not hold on to their money. We are working with banking partners who are verifying that they're meeting their goals. And to a certain extent, it's an honor system, but they can show us electronically that they are saving for things. Part of what we are wanting to do is make sure that if there are some fees associated with the institution that they are wanting to work with, whether it's a monthly fee of $350 to hold down a checking account until they reach a certain amount or whatever, that we are helping to pay for those things so that we eliminate the barriers that otherwise would have made them feel like this was too hard. But the biggest thing is overcoming that fear of walking into a bank. And helping them to feel like they've got somebody that is interested in them succeeding.
And working with the banking partners that we have, they understand our situation and what we're trying to accomplish, and they're all in on that. They want people to succeed also in the banking and the money savings, so it's kind of a good partnership.
And if we're successful, they build their credit score. And they are seen, differently that from these banking partners who can write referrals for them and references, saying that they can vouch for them for other things that they want to do.
What kind of program materials, where are you sourcing from?
Well,
Like the Brandy program? Different.
well,
We use a lot of different things. A lot of it is from the FDIC. Money Smart program. I did a lot of that when I was in banking. I did a lot of training with people, both adults and children with the FDIC Money Smart program. So I have a lot of experience in that, and I like to bring the best parts of, like Dave Ramsey is a good one.
now,
Absolutely.
given that this programming is tailored to the specific clients that we are serving. We're not gonna talk to them about their 501(k). Okay, we're not gonna talk to them about their investment portfolio of stocks and the assets that they have right now and their retirement plan. They don't have these things. We are doing this in a way that is palatable and relatable for them. And taking a cue from Randy Powell with the Business Placement Office, he incorporated a lot of comical cartoons into his programming for the Business Placement Office, which we use for other programming at My Sister's Closet. So the workbooks have cartoons that make you look at yourself and laugh a little bit. So this isn't quite so hard.
Yeah, I guess a follow-up to that. So you mentioned some financial partners that you have, banking institutions. Do they help with placement of accounts? Because for folks that typically have, damaged credit, things like that, oftentimes they can't get bank accounts. So is that part of the placement that you
It
offer?
is actually, because we know that these people probably have left banks previously for no good reason. We'll work with them and the bank will help them see what needs to be taken care of. They can go and take care of those issues before we can get them the bank account, but that is a goal that they can do. That's a goal they can say, I need to pay off this bank before said bank will open an account for me, maybe one that has a fee on it because, of their experience.
And so you work with them on things like check systems or other issues that
Correct.
come up. And
Exactly. Yeah, because we understand that a lot of our clients have gotten themselves into those problems and having been in the banking industry, like you understand, they have not been educated. There has not been education for these people and it is daunting to them and it's scary. And the last thing they want to do is walk in a bank and have them be told no. They need a partner, they need support, they need us to help them with that, and that's why we have some great banking partners.
Is this a relatively new program or has been in place for quite a while?
It's relatively new, it's funny, Sandy, I had been working with Sandy, volunteering while I was at the bank, and she came to me and said, we need to help these people with this financial understanding. And I said, yes, let's do it. So that's how we kind of came about talking about how can we do this? How can we help? From a banking perspective and from a nonprofit perspective, how can we bring this together to help these clients? So it is our program is relatively new.
With the rounding up and the banking partnerships, we've always taught financial wellness. But we were not seeing the success that we wanted to see. This meets the needs that were unidentified before or identified before, but we did not know how to address them. And so it's just a perfect partnership and it's so positive. The clients coming through this really like this. It's not scary. And when someone tells you that they've done something that they didn't think they could do before, like put a deposit down on an apartment or actually a deposit down on a house. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. And so one of our clients carries her budget with her everywhere she goes. And when she feels like she's tempted, she picks it out and she looks at it for her guidance, as she calls it, her conscience. Yeah.
I would like to make a quick, sorry. No, go ahead, Terry. You about to say something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
Michelle,
okay. Sorry, real quick. First of all, thank you for the presentation. I real quick, want to share a quick story, like not a story, but more of a situation. I helped this lady, and it was interesting to see her predicament, and it was a horrible thing. But she and I sat down and kind of went over her budget, and she understood. Now she has a plan in place. So sometimes when we look at these many programs that a lot of people utilize, is out of necessity. So the question is, how can this be a program that could prevent the need and dependency on those programs? And so teaching financial management and how to budget and how to save, if you're invested in it and if you take money that you've earned, however you've earned it, and you set it aside, it'll help you to realize that what you were taught or what you have been exposed to is not normal. It's not normal to be dependent. And so I appreciate you. Quick question. Since this is a new program, how you plan to sustain it? That was really why I raised my hand.
That's a very good question. Well, I mean, success meets with success. We feel that our banking partners, when they see these women succeed one after another, they're more empowered themselves to be able to help fund this because it is exactly how they identify themselves in helping the community and giving back. I mean, from the banking, advocates and mentors that are helping to to the clients. Every time somebody meets with success, it's a good thing for everybody. It's very positive for the community and for the client. So we believe that we will just continue to receive grants for this because of that.
Thank you.
You have a question?
Oh, she's done. My question kind of picks up on that a bit. I'm always interested in peer learning, peer support, how people are helping each other. Now, whether that's within Sisters Closet cohorts or whether it's outside Sisters Closet, but still peers. I'm curious what you had to share or what you'd like to share relating to the peer support and learning related to this work, especially as it relates to your grant proposal.
So peer as far as previous clients, talking to other clients, encouraging them and letting them believe that this is possible and it'll work. We absolutely do have clients coming back to do that. As far as advocates and mentors who work with My Sister's Closet in the different lanes that they work with, for example, financial wellness, we just have this incredible team that feels very, very empowered every time we're able to help someone win. And we just really believe that everybody should have the chance to win.
Can I do one follow-up? Sorry, because this is just going, yeah, but I'll be mostly very brief. In terms of helping the individuals who are connected with you through this program particularly, how they get the support they need beyond those you provide, is part of the education, if you will, and support that you provide, beyond some more narrow piece about the bank and the financial reward, in effect, by encouraging, but how they get support from others in their networks.
Right, and so
that's the last thing.
When you get assigned as a mentor, or an advocate, that's not a one and done thing that lasts like 6 weeks. We want you to stay connected with that woman forever. We really do. One of our advocates, Denise Shockley, who's an accountant here in town, has stayed connected with one of the women that we have served since she was enrolled in the Success Institute programming in 2016. And she calls her up and asks her if she should go to the right or to the left when she's making a decision. And she has stayed with her the whole time to encourage her and help her make good decisions. I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
It's really what you have to share to be relevant.
Yeah, but we want these women to feel like that this is their network. That this is their safe place. They can always come back to My Sister's Closet no matter what. We want them to feel like this is their team.
We also want them to feel like when they start to get that relationship with the bank, being a banker, that was what I was about. And I have helped a lot of women, a lot of people that came in that didn't know what they were doing. So that is a huge part of the customers coming in and building that relationship with the bank, because they're not just there to take your deposit and give you your money. No, they're there to say, how are you doing? Great job. You're making a deposit today, because we understand, the banks understand, if they are relationship banks, that this is only going to help them in the future.
Last question, how are you measuring success in this program?
We're measuring success by, first and foremost, women achieving, or men, it's open to men and women. We mostly serve women with our other program, but this is for both. And, whether or not they have actually been able to go through the program and create a budget, and if they have able to reach one of their primary goals of actually making it to one of their savings goals. And then, if, with customer satisfaction, surveys on how they felt something was working, whether or not we need to tweak it to the left or to the right to improve it, whether or not we are able to have more clients refer it to other peers of their own, because it helped them so that they can refer somebody else into it. I mean, the biggest thing is to help, our clients reach some of those larger goals, and to hear that they have moved away from predatory lending companies like payday loan companies, and that they have established a banking relationship. Those are a lot of different questions that we ask, but they're all pretty important, because this is a lifestyle change. It's a very specific set of goals and actions, and you kind of have to stick with it. And along the way, we want to see that you're succeeding in those.
Okay, are we about out of time, I think?
Oh, yeah, we have two more presentations still after this one, so, on the back there.
I'm sorry, yes. we do.
I hope I
To turn it over. We have
Thank
more
you for your
presentations.
time.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So the questions can take longer, that's fine.
All right.
And
Okay.
you don't seem to have any public at the moment, so I don't think there's any public comments. Okay, is there somebody from pantry 279?
You have somebody online.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can't see you though.
Yeah, apparently, the laptop I grabbed today is one that does not have a working webcam, so I apologize for that.
Okay, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Tracy. I'm the Assistant Director for Pantry 279. Pantry 279 is a low barrier food pantry located in Bloomington, Indiana. We were started by a Girl Scout troop 10 years ago. We just celebrated our 10th birthday on November 2nd. I'm going to try and make this short and sweet. I'm going to throw out some numbers just so you guys can get a better understanding about how food insecurity within Bloomington has really increased throughout this year. I know Julio spoke a little bit on the current issues that are going on with SNAP and with the cuts to the TFAP program, which have really hit our pantry hard. We have seen a huge increase just in the last 3 days that we were open for distribution. But I want to give you some numbers that kind of reflect like a January through October increase. So in January of this year, we served 2,092 households, which was 6,863 individuals. In October, we fed 3,245 households, which was 10,784 individuals. We are one of the only food pantries in Southern Indiana that offers grocery delivery to our clients. They have to be completely homebound to receive this service, but 73% of our deliveries are to the elderly. 83% of all of our deliveries are done within the city limits of Bloomington. In January, We fed 469 households with our delivery program. In October, we fed 883 households with our delivery program. That's almost doubled just from January. We are a staff of 12 employees. Only 2 of us are full-time, which means everybody else works 20 hours or less. I am currently working 85 hours a week, most of which is volunteer hours. And I know that our executive director, Cindy Chavez, probably is the only person who puts in more time than me. We run 3 special programs throughout the year. One is our Summer Kids Food Program, which helps supplement food to children who are on the free and reduced lunch program while they're out for the summer. That way they're not skipping any meals. In 2024, we fed 3,446 children with that program. We run a Thanksgiving Kindness Box program where our clients can pick up or get delivered a box that has everything you will need to prepare your Thanksgiving dinner. In 2024, we fed 20,374 people with that program. And then we also do a Christmas assistance program called ELF. In 2024, we provided Christmas gifts to 2,302 children through that program. In 2024, we fed 117,433 individuals. 80% of those people were from Monroe County, and 95% of that 80% were residents of the city of Bloomington. According to Feeding, I'm sorry.
Sorry, 1 minute remaining.
Okay, thank you. With the SNAP benefits, just for the last 3 days of distribution, so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have seen approximately 60 new clients per day of distribution, just since, it came out and in the media that SNAP benefits weren't getting released. I'll be happy to try and answer any questions that you might have. I wasn't supposed to be the one presenting this. I just found out I was going to do it yesterday. Cindy's husband had surgery. I know she's pretty disappointed that she didn't get to do this presentation herself.
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
Your main program, if I understand your presentation, is homebound individuals?
That is our delivery program. So our main program is more like a grocery shopping experience. So we're open Mondays.
And then that leads my second question. So your source of food comes from the food bank, is that correct?
We get food from Hoosier Hills Food Bank. We also take community donations, and we also purchase food.
Okay. And what's the source of income for the food purchase? Donations?
Community donations and local grants. We get no federal funding.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Are there any other questions? I guess that is no questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And we have one final applicant here, Summit Hills Community Development Corporation. Hello.
Hello, hi, thank you for sticking it out with me. I am Jessica Craig, and I'm with the Summit Hill, I'm the Housing Stability Coordinator with the Summit Hill Community Development Corporation and the Bloomington Housing Authority. And I'm here to share some information about our eviction prevention program, which helps Bloomington residents remain safely and stably housed. So I think we're all probably aware that housing stability is really the foundation for everything in someone's life, you know, their employment, education, health, and community connection. When a family loses their housing, it impacts every part of that. Our program steps in before an eviction happens, providing early intervention and supports to so that families can maintain stability and avoid long-term consequences. We serve residents who earn under 80% of the area median income and are within 14 days of a landlord filing eviction. We can cover up to 2 months of arrears, including late fees and legal fees, helping households catch up to stay housed. Since May of this year, we have helped 15 households remain in their homes and provided $34,963 in direct assistance, which ends up being about a little over like $2,300 per household. To date, we've received 44 applications for this program, which I think shows that the community need far exceeds what our current financial resources are. And then this program also, you know, works to ease pressures on our local shelters and homelessness support services by preventing crisis situations that would, you know, cause an eviction and, you know, send somebody potentially into that homelessness cycle. Our approach combines financial assistance with landlord mediation and case management. We work closely with partners such as Beacon, Centerstone, IU Health, New Hope for Families, and the VA to address, you know, not just immediate housing needs, but also the underlying challenges that put households at risk of eviction in the first place. We also partner with local landlords, many of whom now refer to us directly if they have a tenant who is falling behind. We will work with participating households for the remainder of their lease to help mitigate potential issues and just to ensure that that household does not become at risk of eviction again during that leasing period that we become involved. And then, so we are requesting funding to expand this program's reach and to continue helping households in urgent need. Eviction prevention is one of the most cost-effective strategies in addressing housing instability. It strengthens neighborhoods, preserves affordable housing, and supports overall community stability, which reduces strain on emergency services. So thank you for your time today. And yeah, I guess open up for questions if you have some.
Are there questions?
I have one. Is there an educational component to anyone who utilizes your programs in terms of helping them get on better financial footing? Once you obviously help them get on better financial footing.
Yeah, so we do that in a couple of different ways. We have a tenant support and education class that we actually teach for another program of ours, and we utilize the resources from that class. It's a 2-hour class. Then we go over with applicants for the eviction prevention program, and a component of that is budgeting as well. Something that we find is that sometimes it's not always, you know, a lack of budgeting. It's maybe somebody's hours got reduced due to, you know, a medical issue or something. And so we do try to assess the individual client need as well to, you know, make sure that we are focusing on the area that, you know, really got them behind and to begin with. But yeah, budgeting is definitely something that we focus on quite a bit with people.
What is your relationship to the Housing Authority? How do you work with them?
Yeah, so the Summit Hill Community Development Corporation is a nonprofit branch of the Housing Authority. And so I am technically a BHA employee but then I also work for the for Summit Hill. It gets a little in the weeds in terms of my my funding breakdowns if you look at my timesheet. But yeah, so Summit Hill is a nonprofit, a subsidiary of the Housing Authority.
Are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate your being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I have a question about this So this eviction prevention program is actually a partner of the housing authority. Is that correct?
Yes,
So is it the only program in the housing authority that also does eviction prevention?
question. That I could say we could send to them as a question just to make sure on that.
Because, I mean, it's just weird to me that they don't have a mechanism inside the housing authority themselves to deal with, with this question.
I think that becomes an issue of who can receive funding. So they have to have be a 501(c)(3) to be able to get grant funding or things like this.
Yeah.
However, the city has a different funding tranche that they have access to.
Well, the
So
city has lots of funding streams. So, anyway, it was just a question.
Yeah, I'd be happy to submit that to them though. I think that would be good clarification.
And Summit, I mean, Summit is not one of the grant requests, correct?
No, it is. It's on
Someone
back.
gives a grant request.
They are.
Yeah,
They're sitting in the back.
It's on the back page.
Oh, yeah.
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 There's two on the back.
Summit Hill.
Wasn't counting.
Can I make a comment on that real quickly? So
Yes, please.
we fund, we provide some funding to Summit Hill. So the issue with their funding structure is that things that will help people that are on public housing to no longer be in need of public housing, there are restrictions depending on what kind of funds and where those funds come from, right? So hence the creation of the Summit Hill Corporation a couple of years ago, so that organizations like we had to decline them when they were part of the housing authority. But when they became part of the Summit Hill, now they're a 501(c)(3), where the city has restrictions because of where the source of funds come from. And it helps to help the residents to become more stable. Then that's where nonprofits like our organization can come in and be a bridge for that. So I think a lot of their issue is, it sounds good, why isn't it part of the housing authorities? Because where their funds come from, whether state, federal, or local, if it's the Bloomington Housing Authority, some of that funds come from HUD, there are restrictions on it. You can't do certain things.
Hey, thank you.
Say, I know.
Okay, is there time for more general discussion among us, or is there what?
Yes, so long as you feel that we've gone through the applicants properly, that can end the public hearing portions. If you would like to move that forward and say that that's the end of that, then we can get into general discussion.
I believe we are bringing to close the first part of the public hearing on applicant presentations.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
We don't need to vote on that.
Oh, yeah, I say it. All those in favor?
Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Okay.
I think there's
Aye.
still a public, I think someone else is still online that's from the public. I don't recognize who Katz is. Is Katz your?
No, that's Cat's TV, so they are helping us record this session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
sorry.
who is left online at this time?
Oh, just me.
They
Michelle.
say, I think it's me and Michelle.
There's a chat that's, is that anything you have to address?
Yeah, the chat in itself was the read AI notes, the meeting notes, so to take 45 feet gathered here, but moving on to general discussion though, the most important things coming up that I'd like to take note of course, as we had discussed previously, that if there are any lingering questions as a result of the presentations and applications that have been submitted, I can forward those to the agencies for clarification, which would, of course, the clarification would be due prior to the scoring that is due Thursday of next week, November 13th, by noon. Of course, if any committee members have any questions or difficulties within that process, you can also reach out to me, Cody Toothman with hand, just to make sure, in case I didn't introduce myself earlier. But of course, you all will be doing all of the decision making and scoring from here on out. But those are really the main points to go over. After that, what we are aiming for as far as our allocation recommendations that you'll be making is that they will move forward to the redevelopment commission as well as the city council at later dates, which have not fully been determined. It's mostly how we can make it onto the agenda. I believe for redevelopment commission, we're aiming for the December, say, it's always the, we'll look at which Monday that is very quick, December 15th. And I believe with city council, we are also aiming for around maybe January 14th, but that one has not been submitted.
When is the deadline for us to add any questions to that spreadsheet that you send out?
The deadline for any questions to be added to that spreadsheet will be end of business tomorrow, so at 5 o'clock.
Just a note, I've gone through the applications and I've added a bunch of questions and then a lot of them were answered, so we'll go back through and remove the
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, and I did leave a section for notes on that spreadsheet as well, so if you feel that they have been answered, I can do that and I can remove those, but all of you should be able to edit those and make sure that if any have been answered, you can remove them. And that's put them on there. But other than that, I suppose if there are any lingering questions from our committee members.
Yeah, but sure. I just want to make sure I heard that right, that the social services subcommittee allocation meeting. It's 5:30, November 14th.
Yes, 5:30.
Sure, I have that one, right, sure.
And to make sure that I get that noted as well, it will also be held in this exact same room. And also have a Zoom option for those, so of course, and that has also, or that also will be publicly noticed.
Is the allocation meeting open? Is it a public meeting or is it a?
Since we do have a member from council, as well as redevelopment commission from open door laws, we are required to actually have some kind of public access or component to it.
About protocol, process for the meeting.
Process for the meeting, I say an agenda will be looked at, but primarily, the process that we'll go through is I will tabulate the scoring and average those out completely from all the scores that we received from the committee members. At that point, I will put them onto a spreadsheet in which the agency name, because we do a blind scoring. So that is in order to hopefully prevent any kind of bias or anything from trickling through any kind of deliberations, or if anybody has any specific projects they feel more passionately about, we'll go strictly by the score as opposed to that. But from there, it will be a decision on a few different things. One, what kind of allocation to recommend forward for the approval for the redevelopment commission and the council to undertake. And then deciding on if we get more funding than we anticipate, how to divvy that up in that event amongst the receiving agencies. And if we receive less funding than what we anticipate, how do we divvy that up amongst those agencies as well? And I said that one is, I'm not forgetting anything on that one, so that's.
So I understood the part about, of course, it's blind, and we're not looking at each other's scores, what we all give or right, of course. But and I understand, I think about, depending on what we know then, or we might not know now, about specific dollar amounts. That's on the table then at that time. For decision by the committee about the specific dollar amounts recommended for each applicant at that time of the meeting. Do we do by consensus, or what do we do it?
Correct.
Okay, so make sure I understand. I'm happy with everything, so we can understand them.
That one will be recommended by consensus.
So we'll be seeing scores without names of agencies.
Yes.
We'll base our allocations. Will we know how much the particular person has, the particular agency has requested?
Yeah,
That's on the request. That's on their application you'll see it when you go through the scoring sheets. They ask how much money, you'll see it. It's,
Okay, so they'll be blind, but we'll know how much they're asking for.
Yes,
Yes.
and in fact, that one scoring spreadsheet that kind of used as something that you can kind of do without having to go into the neighborhood system and submitting anything that might require me to unlock it and let you back in. It does have their asks on it, so we do have, I believe, a total of 260,000 that is being requested total, with possibly only 117,000 or give or take that might be available.
I'm still confused about one thing. I tend to overgo too much on this stuff because
Very
long story, but that's me. I
Awesome.
just want to make sure, I said what I understood. I want to, because of our chair's question, which helped inform me further, I want to say one more thing. I'm still like, this is the second time I've done this, but it's been a while. Why is it that the committee coming into the meeting would not have the total score for each of the applicants on hand? If that's what I heard. If it's not what I heard, then tell me I'm wrong.
And that, because I know when the scores review, I'll actually try to get those out to you beforehand. It's just you will not know what agency necessarily scored that. So you'll have a list of
Why
what
not?
all the total tabular
Why?
scores are.
Why?
I say that will be revealed during the meeting, but the way that it's been done in past years is to, I suppose, from what I've understood, there was a lot of infighting in previous years amongst people who disagreed with the scores other members were able to get.
Well, I don't think we should know each other's score. That does ask for trouble.
So
Because it
Terry-
gives time in real life, in my opinion. But I just didn't understand to make it have it, because we don't know if I'm right. God knows. But if I'm right, we don't yet even know exactly, because we don't know what we all think, that's fine. But we don't know what the total specific dollar amount will be, maybe more or less, right? We don't know that
Yeah,
exactly.
unfortunately,
Got it, no, but we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
But doesn't the score,
I know, I will, we'll have that different discussion, but why,
Does the
I don't see
scoring
the
count?
danger of not knowing what the total scores were for each
Excuse me.
organization.
I have a point of order.
Yeah,
Yes,
Doesn't the scoring determine the funding amount?
yes, however the committee decides.
So then I understand your question. If the scoring determines the funding, what is your question?
well,
Let me,
the question would be-
can I chime in real quick, Terry, because I was on there the year before you came on. And it was, no offense, Cody, you did a great job. I think part of the reason that you went to this model is that you walked in, people put all this effort into submitting these proposals, coming out, doing their presentations, having a great cause for the committee that had been there year after year to have preferences. This is not what this funding is supposed to be about. And then to look at the scorecard and to say, oh, so-and-so did it, well, I changed mine to that. No, this process, you gotta earn it. You gotta earn it whether you come through us as a foundation or any other foundation. It should not be treated any differently. You have to put the time and effort in, and the need is there. But when you have more requests than you have funding availability, our personal interest should not be the reason that someone receives funding. It has to be that there is a proven need. And so I think when we start hiding the scores, it held us accountable. It held us accountable as a committee for reviewing the proposal submitted, giving everybody the same time to present, and then revealing the scores in the end. Then you can see who scored what, so you don't I don't think it was intentional. I just think it was just, to me. So I actually objected to that process.
Yeah, and to let that know, the aggregated scores from all the committee members is I'll take it and average it. So we have 9 committee members, it'll be, an average of the 9 as it stands. And those will be shown before you all make your decisions.
So think of it as, we're gonna get bowl standings for football. We're gonna have somebody at first place who got an 89, we don't know who they are. And then somebody else getting an 87, yeah, so.
Yeah,
So it's gonna pull our
The
scores.
most important thing is though, CBDG money is for very, very low income individuals. What is so it's 80% of AMI, and what is that amount?
It varies by household, so as a starting point.
Okay.
Yeah.
One person.
Oh, one person?
Yeah.
At this point,
I think-
this year it's 60,500.
I think one of the pages on the application, like one of the
Yes.
first pages,
Sure.
like have charts it out,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, so they do calculate it to a household of 8, so we do try to take that in consideration, but it does start off at about 60,500, and on average, it jumps per household about anywhere between 5 to 7,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doesn't the scoring take into account something about whether how large a percentage of the clientele served by a particular agency meets the lowest standard versus the medium standard?
We do try to have something like that built into it, so it's.
Yes.
We wanna, and part of the overall program requirement is that at least 51% of the people that each agency serve have to be under that 80% or less of the area median income. So that, higher percentage, of course, that they serve at that rate means they're reaching, more of those folks in the community and.
Okay. Let me just a response to the gentleman's question, without.
George.
Use of George, thank you. He's still a joke. My interest only having information at the time to make decisions really has to make. I don't disagree with generally anything being said, because it's just common sense, I don't know, but we feel what that has to do. Speaking for myself, I'm just saying, that as I think if, depending on where things, if we have a list, an anonymous list of 11 applicants, we know they've been scored thusly, top to bottom, here. T rankings thing, which is our probably about right. And then we're saying, let's say, we've just got 50% of the funding actually that we thought. What do you want to do? For me, I'm wondering, I thought, gee, if I knew how that broke on that list of 11, how I thought about addressing the allocations might be different. As I thought about it. Now, is that an unfair discussion? Maybe, I think I could argue each way, or it helps me make a decision to be more. What do I almost say? Can we say ethically or equitably these days? I don't know. So anyway, can we look at things? So I don't even talk about it. Whatever it is, I'm happy and good.
Or we could decide that we make our allocations based on what we think we're gonna get. And then we say, well, if we get less than that, everyone will get a percentage.
Oh, I know. I just say how we get.
More than that, everybody will get a percentage.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it all comes out.
Yeah, we have options.
Cody, you discussed this earlier, but you want to repeat this thing about over or underfunding, please?
Oh, yes. So one of the reasons that we do decide, I'll go into that first, is the over and underfunding is because we really won't get an idea of what our total allocation is until usually April of each year. So we do get this process started earlier so we can complete other things that are required in the program, like environmental reviews, those. But we do need to decide that if we get more funding amongst the people that we recommend for allocation, how can we distribute that amongst them? And that is a committee decision based on consensus. And then if we are receiving less than that total amount that we think that we get, which we're basing it honestly currently on what we received for the 2025 program year. These numbers are subject to change and unless approved, of course, in the federal budget, do you have the potential of not being received at all?
Yeah.
So it's not exactly an enviable position to kind of, I know it might feel like in some cases we're jumping the gun by even doing this early, but with all the other things that we have to do and how we have to take this into account for the city's annual action plan, it does make sense to do it this early ahead of time.
All right, is there any other issue that anyone would like to raise that needs to be discussed?
I wanted to hear the presentations today before I did any scoring.
Yeah.
It was important for me to hear what they had to say. And one of the things is that the median income issue, and then how the priority of people being served in the city, right, rather than the county.
Yes.
Exactly, okay. Those were my issues there.
And most of the applications, they do typically state the percentage that they're serving in the city and in the county. I think there's a line item question of some kind of that.
I've tried to distribute it up to where they can be more clear on that.
Yeah.
Although I think honestly, there might even be another step I can probably take to maybe clarify that more in other years that just did not get brought to my attention with enough time to actually make it a meaningful change, especially since it was the middle of the application period. But that's something that can also be added in. But it is also good to note that all of these agencies are required to do reporting on any funding they receive for that period in which they're actively using that funding. So we do have to keep track of, and they are required to have their clients certify, whether in the case of things like food pantries, they can be more reliant on self-certification as it's a presumed benefit. But we do take client demographic information as well as income levels.
That was the question. Does you send a thank you to everybody who's here tonight, who's saying on behalf of the community, from you?
I said thank you to most of them, I think. I hope I did.
Okay, so we don't need, there's no additional email to those to people.
No, actually, although in this particular case with this having been reported, I would like to provide the reporting and also make it available from city sources as well. So it'll definitely be one of those that will go out to any committee members that weren't able to attend tonight, which was one who couldn't make it total, and then one or two came in maybe a little late. So I'll make sure everybody gets the chance to hear every presentation. But yeah, that is the plan for here.
Okay. There are any other issues that need to be discussed?
I would like to go on record before we adjourn and just say thank you to all of you. Honestly, this is a heavy lift. It's not enviable the decisions you'll have to make, but I very much appreciate everybody's time, effort, and giving for this evening and our gatherings this evening as well.
Sure.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Falls and I.
Everybody, not debatable.
And have a wonderful evening.